Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm here to do a little retrospective on what I consider the original Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now I'm going to cover films that came out between 2000 and 2004. Now, I don't have Blade and all those other Marvel movies that came out during this time period, but I do have most of the mainstream ones, so let's begin. The first movie I'm going to cover is X-Men. Now, this proved that superhero movies can be good, because in 1997, a few years before this, came Batman and Robin, and that is considered one of the worst superhero movies ever made. And it really soured the view on how studios and audiences view comic book films. And when this came out, it changed everything. It made people take comic book movies seriously again, and it made studios have a little bit of faith. And it does have a little bit of issues, but for the most part, it's a pretty solid movie. Then came 2002's Spider-Man. Now, despite the cheesy effects and some of the poor acting, this movie really kicked things into high gear, and it made studios feel that comic book movies can be successful, and they can be profitable, and they can actually tell really good stories that audiences can relate to. Now, this movie is just brilliant. Then in 2003 came Daredevil. Now, the director's cut's better. I'm going to say that right off the bat. The theatrical cut, when it came out in February 14th, 2003, it gained a lot of negative reception from fans and critics, and it really started to make audiences think that comic book movies aren't such a good idea. But I don't think people were ready for this type of film, because it tried to be really dark and gritty and serious, and it doesn't fail at it. Even the theatrical cut doesn't fail at it. But there are still a little bit of goofy moments. But for the most part, I thought Daredevil was a pretty solid film and doesn't deserve all the hate that it gets. Now X-Men 2. This is how you do a sequel. Take elements from the original and improve upon them. Now, this is based on the comic book storyline from X-Men called God Loves, Man Kills. And from what I've heard, this is actually a very solid adaptation of that storyline, which I still need to read. But I don't have any problems with X-Men 2. I think it's a brilliant film, and it's probably one of the best sequels ever. Then came the real blunder, 2003's Hulk. Now, I see what Ang Lee tried to do with the Hulk, but come on, man, it's the freaking Hulk. I mean, you don't make a dark and gritty storyline out of the Hulk. Now, it can be done. Don't get me wrong, it can be done if it's done right. Which there are some examples out there of dark and gritty Hulk storylines that are done very well. But this movie is just a freaking mess. I mean, you have the bad storyline, the poor CGI, the comic book transition bullshit. I mean, it has its fans, but to me, this movie is just terrible. I do not recommend it. Then came Spider-Man 2. While the first movie was a typical comic book movie, this movie was a freaking drama. I mean, you had just really, really good acting, and even the bad acting from the first movie, from Kristen Dunst and Tobey Maguire, has really improved in Spider-Man 2, and there is nothing wrong with this movie. Just like X-Men 2, this movie is probably one of the best superhero sequels ever, and I cannot agree more. Now, to end off this video, The Punisher from 2004. Now, again, like Daredevil, this movie gained a lot of negative reception from fans and critics when it first came out, but over the years, people have started to appreciate it, and when this film was released on DVD, it gained a lot of attention. It sold very well. I think it sold over 1 million copies when it came out on DVD, alone from rentals. Now, I can see why. When I first saw this movie, I freaking loved it. And it does have some problems, like some general cheesiness here and there, but for the most part, this is a very solid comic book film. And it's a very good adaptation of Welcome Back, Frank, as well. I mean, a lot of people don't see that it has elements from Welcome Back, Frank, but it does, and it adapts them pretty well. So, I highly recommend this one. So, that was my little video, and thank you guys for watching, and bye.